Naka-blackmail ako ng isang tao or dalawang tao. Na-blackmail ko ng 300,000 to 500,000.
Sa buwan na nakaka-blackmail kayo ng isang tao? Ilang tao na ba-blackmail?
Marami. Kasi sa isang buwan, marami talaga kami nabablockmail. Kasi everyday kami nag-online. Kahit sabihin mo may pera na, kumita na kami. Once na nag-online kami, nire-reserve lang muna namin yung iba para may income pa rin kami. Kumbaga, once na ma-blackmail pa namin yung magkakaroon pa kami ng pera once na nawala na ulit kami ng pera. 50-50. For example, sabihin natin 50,000, tig 25,000 kami. Wala ako talaga akong idea na gano'n yung magiging trabaho ko kasi nga in-invite lang din ako ng friend na sabi may easy money nakikita through online lang. Siya talaga yung parang putok yung pangalan na siya yung madam-madam talaga doon. Siya yung nauna. Mayaman na talaga. As in. May mga kotse at bahay na. Ilang kotse, ilang bahay. Middle lang talaga yung pamumuhay nila. Sabi natin may kaya or ano. Tapos nung nag-start yung ganung pamumuhay, doon na siya naging big time talaga na bonggang-bonggang pasabog, ganun. Bigla na lang siyang umangat sa lahat. Wala siyang ginagawa, tutuusin. Mag-claim lang ng pera, magpasahod lang ng tao. Hindi ko pa siya talaga totally nakikita. Naririnig ko lang sa sa mga bakla na yun nga na madam talaga siya na siya nag-start ng nung ganong bagay, ganong serbisyo or bagay na na pagkakakitaan, na mabilis.
I had no idea what this crime was or how it could possibly work until I started looking into it. The first thing we knew about sextortion was a case in Scotland involving a 17-year-old lad called Daniel Perry who apparently received messages through Facebook. Had some money extorted from him, received sums of about £3,000 from him before he ran out of money. They then carried on threatening him, threatening to release these video recordings of him, and they started saying to him, well, why don't you kill yourself, and taunting him even. And the last message he sent to them said, I haven't got any more money, bye-bye. And he then took his own life.
When the PNP anti-cybercrime group was created, and there was a lot of report of sextortion happening in the Philippines, victimizing foreign nationals.
Because, of course, international pressure started to build, especially after the death of Daniel Perry in 2013, and Interpol got involved. There was one, I suppose, a typical victim, a guy in Hong Kong who was working in an office, who was approached on Facebook and who went off into the office toilets and had this exchange with somebody he thought was a woman in the Philippines. 2 hours later, they were demanding money from him. He had to rush out of the office at the end of the day and try and find a Western Union branch and send over, you know, one sum of money, and the next day another demand came. He eventually sent about £2,000 to £3,000, or about $3,000 before plucking up the courage to go to the police and report it. Usually you'll find these crimes might originate in Nigeria or some African countries and then get copied overseas. But here, this was the first that anyone had ever heard of these crimes being perpetrated. In about 2013, 2014, they suddenly started springing up. This crime didn't exist until Maria Capras invented it. The ringleader of a group of young people who were carrying out these crimes of sextortion and extorting money from people through Facebook and getting large sums of money out of it. Her syndicate is thought to have raked in millions of pounds. Huge sums of untraceable money, all of which will be sent to Western Union accounts. Some of the Western Union branches in the area around where she lived recorded the biggest takings of any Western Union branches in the world for a period in 2014, 2015. There was so much money coming in at this time.
So this operation was named the Operation Strikeback, which resulted to the crackdown of this syndicated group, which involves in sextortion cases.
May kwarto ba sa kabila? Kapala! Kamay sa ulo! Kamay sa ulo!
It's quite big because back then, the cyber sex extortion or crime were new to us. It was not that popular yet, so the impact of the story is alarming.
Down! Nice. Got it. Down.
They were able to track the movements of money, and all the proceeds were going through the two Western Union accounts owned by the Caparas and her live-in partner. I think they were able to seize a couple of laptops, hard disk, sex toys, several motor vehicles, including wig.
I was told that she was still active on social media in prison and sent her a message in hope rather than expectation, saying, "I'd like to hear your side of the story. Will you let me come and see you in prison?" Insisting she was innocent, insisting that another woman in the village was the real kingpin and she was just being scapegoated. She almost convinced me. I mean, she told me that she'd been set up, she was crying, and I asked her, "What did you think about the men who fall for this?" And she said, "They're stupid. They're just stupid." I told them. I told one or two of them, "Don't do it again because you've learnt your lesson now." So she could switch quite quickly and was clearly a quite persuasive and highly confident person, probably a sociopath, you'd probably describe her as. But for whatever reasons, and we can only suspect what those reasons might be, no case ever came to court, and it appears to have simply dissolved, and Caparas is free, and she's got her cars back too. Maria Caparas first started working in chat centres where Filipino women sort of strip off and talk to foreigners. And let's face it, it's a pretty degrading line of work to find yourself in. And I imagine that's perhaps where her cynicism about the victims comes in. She's seeing men who are behaving in a very exploitative manner and presumably working with other people who are being similarly exploited.
Like a telemarketing office, call centers, you know, they're selling porn sites. And once they saw an opportunity, someone asking for more.
And at some stage, we don't know when, but clearly a light bulb went on and she realised how she could turn this to her advantage. It's an evil scam, but it's a very clever scam at the same time. And it plays on the fact that people are so ready to strike up conversations with complete strangers.
Nung nagtrabaho ako doon, tapos syempre wala pa ako alam yung tinuruan ako eh. Ginawa nila ako ng Facebook, pinagawa nila ako ng bagong Facebook. Makatotohanan ng Facebook, merong may-ari talaga na everyday mag-post, everyday selfie, ganyan. Kukuha ka ng may real Facebook account, ayun yung gagamitin mo doon na mukha. So kada post niya, ayun yung popost mo din sa Facebook na yon. Gagawin mo talaga siyang tunay na FB.
So yung mga kinukuha mga Facebook na account, yung mga sans dito sa Pilipinas o sa
ibang bansa din, mga Korea, gano'n, mga Chinese.
They will use the persona of a pretty young woman. The persona used will be a younger female, fun-loving, a bit silly, a bit more fun and games kind of approach.
In social media platforms, most of the information is available. Easily they can go to your profile go through this information, go through your hobbies, go through your habits, go through the messages, go through the image, videos, and all the comments, knows who is your friends. The main goal for them is to make the account as real as possible, okay? And why? Because they want the victim to trust them easily.
Minsan ka sa akin, hindi sila nagtataka kasi pag bino yung profile ko, updated. Minuminuto may post.
20 years back, you never publish your private image. You hang it outside your door and everybody could easily see it, because that time was something like, that was private information. We are freely posting information about ourselves and just give it away, give it to the public, give it to the scammers. And we just inviting them to just say, this is my life. You want to know anything about my life, here it is. And then you can just have any information about me on my social media.
I believe today there is popular trend where popularity is above privacy. So the more popular you are, the better it is. But again, it's a choice. With popularity and having a public profile comes everything that relates to that and the risk associated. And that's where social platforms are, in general, a great platform for criminals in general to perform their crimes. It's an easy way, and they can hide behind a different, just fake identity.
Basically, they use social media a lot. So they would troll these social media websites and then interact with people, and they're fishing for potential prey.
Mag-search ka sa Facebook ng, kunyari engineer lives in Malaysia, engineer lives in Singapore, Hong Kong. Alam namin na ayun yung trabaho nila. Mga mayaman, ganon, may pera. Ang tinuka namin yung may maayos na pamilya, yung maganda yung trabaho. Tapos syempre, kukunin mo doon yung may mga details na hindi ka na mahihirapan na kapag clinic mo yung siblings, andun na yung, lalo na usually, mas maganda kapag naka-in relationship sa Facebook.
The way sextortion works is that somebody will send you a friend request on Facebook, somebody you've never met before.
Siyempre, mag-aantay ka ng mag-a-accept sa'yo. Kapag, siyempre, mag-add ka ngayon. Tapos bukas, pag-ising mo, may mag-a-accept sa'yo. Lahat yun, ipipi mo, hi.
Well, if you respond to that chat, okay, then you can easily be hooked to the chat.
You know, a typical legitimate account, you have around 200, 300, 400 Facebook friends, you know? And statistically, when we're trying to analyze the Facebook account of criminals, you see just around 10 friends, foreign friends coming from everywhere.
Oo, yung iba nagdududa na kasi usually yung iba, saan mo nakuha yung Facebook ko, ganon-ganon. Siyempre sabihin ko lang na nakita ko lang sa you may know. Ganon. Tapos, bakit mo ako inad? Wala lang, ganon-ganon to make friends, ganon-ganon.
And it's a script, a narrative that they use that almost always works.
Tawag doon lang, parang ko na siya, inakit ko na siya.
And they have a mastery over the script, the words to use, the emotions to show, the little attentive messages every day that you can send that makes somebody feel good. It is in this climate of trust that they take advantage of the victim.
We always assume, like those movies, like those Hollywood movies, somebody extremely skillful, running some script and running some codes. However, that, I can say, is a 15% of what's happening in a cybercrime, okay? The other 85% of the cybercrime practically is nothing to do with the technical things. What we call it social engineering.
Social engineering is based on manipulating people, and it is very effective when you create a certain connection with your victim and try to use that in order to achieve your crime.
Mas maraming bakla kasi po mas malawak yung utak ng bakla sa pagsasalita eh. Parang bibilogin yung utak ng tao.
They, and these were mostly teenage boys, some of whom were transitioning to be women.
Meron ako doon nakasama, 17 years old lang. 17, 18, 19, tapos ang pinakamatanda sa amin, which is 30.
That's the age bracket that normally that we were able to arrest in sextortion because they know a lot about computers.
You can just pay these jobless teenagers, give them 300 to 500 a day, and it will suffice for them. You can easily lure them, attract them to this kind of sex activities.
Good chatters would get bonuses and extra rewards. She'd shower them with gifts like iPhones and Samsung phones.
All the arrested individuals were minors.
Siyempre sa isang bahay kami na parang liblib. Kahit sabihin man liblib yun sa bundok yun, dun sa NHB.
The surrounding is much safe for them because there are inadequate police authorities who operate in the area.
North Hills still looks like a very ordinary village. But somebody pointed out to me, have you noticed what's different about this village? And I said, well, I can't. It looks like another Filipino village to me. But they said, look at the kids. They're all wearing designer T-shirts. You don't get that in a normal Philippine village. She owned a large property in the center of the village. It was like an entertainment center for the mostly young people who would work for her. And when we were there was always crowds of kids sort of gathering around them. And of course, those are the demographic that would be working for her or being primed to work for her as soon as they were a little older.
Pangunahin, dun tao, dun poor, ganun. Yung unang kinabubuhay dun sa NHB, which is yung paggawa ng basahan at pagbebenta ng basahan. Nagtatrabaho kay Kaparas doon na sabihin natin nasa 80% nakatao.
Walang nagsusumbong doon kay Kaparas kasi, sa NHB kasi halos lahat, buong NHB yon, lahat ayun yung trabaho. Lahat sila is kami yung trabaho. Pag lahat ng makita mo doon bahay na malalaki, all in yun. Si Kaparas kasi powerful kasi nga siya yung unang gumawa ng ng trabahong scam, which is siya yung nagbigay ng trabaho sa mga tao, siya yung unang yumaman, siya yung unang nakapagpagawa ng business.
Sa atin, tatanong ako anong requirements sa loob. Ng transaction. Padala. Padala. Saan po yung kay Kaparas na Western Union? Yung kay Kaparas na Western Union? Wala po dito yan. Wala po rito.
If you ask anybody about Maria Kaparas, they suddenly suffer from amnesia and are reluctant to talk about it. One shopkeeper who lives near her house says, everybody knows about what's going on, but nobody will talk to you about it. People are terrified to talk about what's going on. Not only terrified, but probably invested as well, because everybody has a son or a daughter or a brother or a sister somehow involved in one side of the scam or the other.
Mabait naman, maayos naman makisama. Miss Gay event na siya yung siya yung nag-set up ng event na yun. Siya yung halos lahat gumastos. Doon ko narinig sa mga tao na, ay, si ano nag-ano niyan, si Miss C yung nag-ano niyan, ganyan-ganyan. Siya yung sumagot niyan, siya yung nagpa-Miss Gay niyan. Kaya sabi ko, oo nga, mabait naman siguro talaga.
With money, you can literally buy people, and that's technically what she was doing. Maria Capras came from an extremely poor background. She was living in the slums in Manila. When she first arrived in the village, the neighbours told me she was so poor she'd have to beg for a bowl of rice to feed her and her 2 children. She had nothing at all. She's a slumdog millionairess, effectively. She's come from nothing and become extremely rich in an extremely dark way.
I got a random Facebook request one night, what looked like an attractive female. At first I was resistant because I didn't know this person at all. At the time I didn't think nothing of it, like I said, so we started chatting. The second that we got onto the webcam, this person was already removing their clothing. I did not anticipate this. It wasn't that kind of conversation prior to that. I just thought they wanted to talk. They started removing their clothing, started doing some vulgar things with toys and stuff like that. And then started asking me to remove my clothing. I was resistant for a long time, for maybe about 15 minutes. I didn't really know this person. I didn't want to do that. I'm not really into that whole thing either, you know what I mean? But eventually I did. And I showed them my private area. This person proceeded to stop the video chat, and the screen went completely blank. And once that happened, I kind of realized something wasn't right.
Through Facebook, ayun, doon mo siya kakausapin. Tapos once na nakausap mo na siya, nagustuhan ka niya, pakiramdaman ko na sumasakay na siya sa akin, doon na pumasok yung plano ko na ito nga, parang sasakay ito sa akin, ganyan. Tapos nung sumakay na nga, which is sabi ko, start na kami, lumipat naman ako sa Skype para mag-video call.
I saw Maria Capras in prison and she explained to me actually how it all works. She says that within 20 minutes, the chat gets so intimate.
Inakit ko na siya, nasabi ko na nakahubad ako, galing ako ng CR, kung gusto mo ba akong makita. Sige, magpapakita ako, basta once na magpakita ka din.
May application kasi kami na kapag inad mo yung video na gamit namin, automatic, kapag nakapag-video call ka, ayun yung lalabas na na video. Ayun yung makikita nila. Ayun, kinukuha yun sa mga porn site.
There are pre-recorded videos, controlled by key points.
Kasi yung iba kasi syempre magkataka yan eh. If you are not video, wave your hands. May wave yon. I-click mo lang kunyari. Yung wave niya nasa 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I-click mo siya sa 2 minutes. Para wave siya agad, ganon.
Yung galaw niya, pinag-aralan ko like yung mag-high siya, pagkaway sa camera. Tapos yung mga pag-flying kiss, yun, alam ko yun. Tapos like yung sa dildo, dapat kabisadoy mo talaga lahat. Kung ano yung gustong ipagawa nung foreigner din.
Combination of keys to have that pre-recorded video play as if you are really doing it for him.
Which is yung mag-show doon, hindi mismo ako, ibang tao. Tapos once na nauto ko na siya na yun na nga na nakapag-show na ako, tapos sasabihin ko sa kanya na mag-show din siya, gusto ko siya makita. Ayan, doon namin i-start yung pagre-record ng video niya. After nun, i-record namin yun. Pag-record namin doon, kukunin namin yung mga information na like Facebook, kukunin namin doon yung mga pangalan ng mga kamag-anak, pinsan, mga ganong kapamilya, or mga pamilya niya. Like asawa, anak, lolo't lola, or mga pinsan, ganon.
Well, they don't need to be IT expert or hackers. Because all this private information is already shared in your social media platform. For example, if you have a working experience somewhere, you already entered which locations you work, which company you work. They don't want only you be a target, because all those friends, all those members which they are in your social media, okay, it can be a valuable target to them.
Tapos after nun, doon na papasok lahat ng information na hawak namin, together with the video, nandoon. Tapos doon namin sasabihin na kung free ka ba na pwede mag-show ulit tayong dalawa. Once na nag-show ulit siya, doon na namin ipapasa yung video niya na nag-show din. Sasabihin na namin na may hawak akong video, ganyan-ganyan. Kung magkano yung hingin namin, dapat maibigay niya para lang ma-delete yung video. Kung hindi, ipo-forward namin sa lahat ng kamag-anak, pinsan, kaibigan, yung video niya.
And if you can record something and you can play it over again, then the traumatization just happens each time you see it.
Once na nagbibigay pa siya ng pera, hindi ko siya titigilan.
Malaki din naman kapag nakakuha ka ng mayaman na client. Tsaka yung takot na takot. Sa isang araw na mag-online ka, makaka5 o 10 video. Kaya sa 10 video na yun na i-scam mo, natatakutin mo, imposibleng wala ka makuha dun isa. Usually yung iba kasi na nagmamakaawa na walang pera, ganon-ganon. Siyempre, tatakutin mo yung takot talaga yung yung pipilitan lang namin sell your things, sell your ganon, appliances. Yung iba talaga nagbebenta.
When you are threatened that these things will be released publicly, you literally panic, right? And you get very upset. And many of these young people become very anxious, very depressed.
Kaya doon po papasok yung pagsusuicide kasi nga wala na maibigay. Halos mangutang na sa mga kapitbahay niya or pinsan, kapamilya, yung taong binablackmail ko.
Pero may iba kasing client na tinigilan mo na, hindi mo na kasi kinaawa ka, kinabukasan, biglang magsasend sa'yo na na I know you can do this to me. Ganun, yung matapang pa sa'yo. Doon ako napipiko na, okay, this is your wife. I send your Doon ko sinasend yung video na mismo sa wife niya kahit wala akong makuha pera sa kanya. Actually, yung iba magsusumbong daw sa pulis. Hindi naman ako natakot.
Sa tingin ko mga 30. Di nga lang 30. No, isang, kumbaga sa lamesa, 4 or 5 kami nandiyan dyan na laptop. Kakasama kami dyan, kami yung ano, yan, sabay-sabayan kami nag-ano dyan, nakikipag-usap ng kumukuha ng bibiktimahin. Palitan ng oras, bibigyan nyo sa isang tao, may 6 hours ka para magharap ng ano mo, ng bibidyoan mo. Ano lang, yung average time kasi na ano yun sa isang tao, yun sa oras kasi napakadali lang, 30 minutes kaya mong gawin yun eh. Na mapashow mo agad siya eh. Focus muna sa isa, pero may makaano ka na, kasi marami kang kausap eh. Parang nandyan lang sila, nakaantabay lang sila, ganun. Tapos after yung isa, yan, di ba na-videoan ko na, save ko lang muna yan, tapos kukuha pa ako ng kukuha ng iba. Siguro mga 6, 7, ganun. Mataas na yung 10. Yung iba nga, maabot pa ng 15, 20. Habang binablockmail ko siya, tapos nakapagpadala na siya, may tao na isa na magkiklaim ng pera, tapos pag na-claim na yung pera, sasabihin sa akin, for example, through tawag or text, chat, sasabihin na nakuha na yung pera, hingan ko ulit ng pera. Yun, doon ko ulit siya hingan ng pera.
While she had the teams of young people running the Sextortion racket, she had another team of people helping her produce fake ID cards with which she or her lieutenants would go and collect the money from the Western Union branches.
Napapadala yung pera through fake ID.
The way it worked is that to collect these transfers, you just need an ID card that matches the name on the transfer from overseas. And in parallel to her sextortion business, it appears that Maria Caparas had a cottage industry producing fake ID cards.
Dahil sa blackmail, nakapagpatayo nga siya ng bahay, gano'n. Tapos nakapag-branch siya ng sariling Western Union para lang dun na kumuha ng pera yung mga tao niya.
From a money shop that is part of the syndicate is much easier than withdrawing the money from a money shop that is not owned or part of the syndicate. So the syndicate can manipulate the transaction and the release of money, but when you trace the money, the details about the ID, it's all fictitious.
It's a fake ID. Yeah.
It's a fake ID, definitely.
So, for the last decade or so, we've been focusing on making the world more open and connected. And we're not done with this yet. We're always going to do this. But I used to think that if we just gave people a voice and helped some people connect, that would make the world a lot better all by itself. And in a lot of ways, it has.
It's probably the tip of the iceberg, yes. We find that about 50 to 60% of the scammers do most of their scamming on Facebook. Facebook is a perfect platform for the scammers because everything they need is in the one place. They're able to meet the people there, they're able to do video chat with them there. They have their life there, their photographs, the list of their friends and their family. So it's just all encapsulated in the one place for them. I'd say we get around 500 reports a month, which is about 15 a day. When we originally started doing this, we were getting around 40% of people coming to us saying that the scam was from the Philippines. Today, we get around 55 to 60% of them will come from the Philippines.
The number one requirement for a person to involve him or herself in a sextortion is the internet. So it can be anywhere in the Philippines. There is no really specific location.
They just need a very basic things, okay? Definitely they need some device.
Bulacan kasi, province eh. Ang gamit lang talaga nila na internet is pocket wifi. Hindi sila, wala pa siyang ano doon. Wala pang wired doon na PLDT, lahat wala doon. Ano lang, ang gamit lang nila doon, SIM card lang.
These syndicates can be anywhere. Okay, they don't need to be in a certain location to find the victim in that particular location. They can sit anywhere, and the victim can be far, far away.
There is a continuous increase of the numbers of recorded sextortion cases. You could see from the statistic that there is an increase of 100% per year.
Thanks,
80% of our recorded sextortion cases uses social media. There's a huge difference in investigating a traditional crime, like a simple robbery, a case of homicide, or a case of murder. There is a gap. There's a huge gap on the procedure of how you will investigate cybercrime. The people do not know, they do not understand that we cannot just hack into someone's system and determine who is the person behind those who is victimizing them. Another thing, the social media administrators, they're outside the Philippines. They're not here. Not days, not weeks. It took months, several months for us to acquire the information that we sought. No, we need a lot of information to be able to identify who's the people behind the cybercrime.
So how do we know who we are in reality talking to? We are not able to verify that identity in a way like we have that possibility in a physical world. There's no need for verification due to the fact that social media priority is users' adoption. They want more users on their platform. We do not have a worldwide legislation that can cover those cybercrimes, and criminals know that. In some countries, they do not even need to hide because they know that no one will come and search for them.
Siya yung unang taong nakapag-ipon ng maraming pera, kaya ayun, nagkaroon siya ng syempre, nagkaroon siya ng kapit, ng hawak na pulis. Siguro kada monthly, binibigyan ng lagay, ganon, para hindi sila mahuli.
Alam ko ilang beses na din kasi nandun ako, nahuli sila, tapos nakakalabas din. Ganon. Pag once na may nagsabi na may hulihan, may surveillance ba or may huli ba, kung iniimbestiga na ba kayo, malalaman mo na.
Kapag nagkahulihan kasi, kapag may media, kukuha lang na kinulong, pero kapag wala nang media, ayun na, pera lang, labas ulit siya. Kaya labas-pasok siya kasi, binibigyan lang niya ng pera, binabayaran niya. Yung sabi-sabi kasi na yun na naririnig ko sa kapitbahay, meron daw na na kalaguyo nga na pulis din, alam ko kasi pulis din daw na ayun yung pumaprotekta. Talaga nagtanong kayo ng pulis? Sira ulo kayo.
Oo, sa Nakabahan tuloy ko.
Kayo, sira ulo kayo, kakilala kami doon.
Hindi, bali. Makita ko
Oo, kilala kami doon kasi sa NHB, kilala lahat ng tao doon kasi hindi ka pwedeng pumasok doon ng lahat ng trabaho eh.
Maria Caparas was quite brazen about the way she operated. She also posted pictures of her 13-year-old son lying down covered in 1,000 peso notes and lots of other quite overt pictures. She was very open about the money they were making, celebrating Christmas and wearing T-shirts with her name on it, calling them the All-Stars North Hills Village, and with a logo printed on the back showing a thumb with a cross, which is the sign you get if you're blocked on Facebook, and saying, "We hate this." I don't think she personally sees any reason to stop as long as she can continue getting away with it, and all the signs are that she's going to carry on getting away with it. She's the queen of sextortion, and North Hills Village is her fiefdom, her kingdom, if you like.
My name's Paul Craig. I'm the Chief Hacking Officer at Vantage Point Security. So imagine that you have a lot of something that is illegal and you want to sell it. You can't go onto Carousel and place a listing for your product that you want to sell. So the dark web's really filled that need. It's become a marketplace for where people can sell things that are illegal. So here we can get a diploma from almost any school for 0.1 of a Bitcoin, so $1,000, $1,100. Here we go, we can buy a UK passport with the name of your choice for 1,000 British pounds. Driver's license, ID cards, big sale. So do you want a driver's license from Norway or Denmark? A Lithuanian ID card. That's what we're looking for. 1 gram of Colombian cocaine, 75% pure, uncut, $40 US. Right here on the front page. But we see that they've got some quite dangerous things available for sale here, because we've got weapons available. AK-47s, $500. This marketplace actually looks quite well designed. It's quite new looking. It actually looks quite legitimate. But this is all illegal.
So think of it as eBay without the auctions or Amazon Marketplace. It's exactly the same thing in spirit. The only difference is that because the site is anonymous, people are not shy about trading illicit goods.
AlphaBay very much looked like a really simple cut-down e-commerce site. Very, very simple. Just had categories and lists of products and prices. You would click on the link of the product and you could see a photo and a brief little description. Top-rated, great reviews, very strong, lab-tested. And a lot of people had comments about how they secretly shipped their items. So it would be shipped in a CD case, or this will be hidden in a vase or something. The majority of listings on AlphaBay were narcotic or drug-related. There were like hundreds of pages of listings for different categories. You would see a lot of pictures of narcotics, guns, and things that are generally illegal.
Marketplaces like AlphaBay are interesting in the sense that they bring the local drug dealer to the global scale. So if you think about it, the total drug market is huge. You're talking trillions of dollars. But your local drug dealer is not grossing a lot of money. The revenues are fairly small because you have to have this face-to-face interaction. There's also tons of risk associated with selling drugs on the street. And so those operations tend to be pretty small. But by moving them online, they take the Amazon model of electronic commerce and use it for illicit goods. So of course, it gives people a much larger pool of potential customers and a much larger outlet. You do not just deal with your 10 or 15 regular customers, you deal potentially with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of potential customers worldwide.
These websites don't have much content other than, here are my illegal goods for sale.
Technology will not only allow legitimate business to thrive, but will also allow criminals to use that technology in order to just have a better return on investment. It definitely is a bigger threat to the overall communities, and therefore it was a priority for the police to shut it down.
Good morning. Today, some of the most prolific drug suppliers use what's called the dark web, which is a collection of hidden websites that you can only access if you mask your identity and your location.
During the AlphaBay investigation, one thing that became pretty clear was that the person who was in charge of the marketplace was somebody with the handle Alpha02. What was interesting with Alexander Casas is that he started his online career as essentially somebody who was selling illicitly obtained online credentials. He was perhaps coming from this hacker mentality, and he built his marketplace based on that. And this is somebody who was, technologically inclined. He liked to run websites, he liked to run an e-commerce platform, and he had a business, and his business was successful. And it's quite human nature. You have a business that is successful, that is something that you like to do. You perhaps turn very quickly a blind eye on what's going on in your business, or you don't really realize what you're doing. Some of them start the marketplaces due to, I would say, ideological reasons. They believe that government should not tell people what they can or cannot put in their bodies, and they want to provide an online platform to do that. But then, when the marketplace starts to work quite well, they realize that the money is rolling in. They basically just get a thrill of operating those markets, and that's essentially what leads them to their downfall.
ตอนเริ่มเลยสำหรับเมื่อได้ยินคำว่า AlphaBay เนี่ยเราคิดว่าเป็นการปิดเว็บไซต์ผมนี่ไม่ได้คิดว่าไม่ได้เป็นการยากอะไรเลยแต่เพื่อนอเมริกันเนี่ยก็พยายามบอกช่วยพดรู้จักแมคโครไหมอะไรอย่างเงี้ยบอกรู้จักแมคโครใหญ่บอกถ้าบอกว่าถ้าแมคโครขายยาเสพติดแล้วถ้าใหญ่กว่าแมคโครสัก50 เท่าเนี่ยใหญ่ไหม
เจ้าหน้าที่ตำรวจที่สืบสวนเนี่ยถึงกับไม่เชื่อสายตาตัวเอง หรือว่าข้อมูลต่างๆที่เราแคปเจอร์ได้เนี่ยไม่น่าจะเป็นเรื่องจริงเลยว่ามันเกิดเรื่องเหล่านี้เกิดขึ้นอยู่ในโลกของเราอย่างเงี้ยครับการที่อาชญากรคนหนึ่งเนี่ยสามารถที่จะบริหารเว็บไซต์นะครับที่มีมูลค่าเป็นหลักหลายพันล้านนะครับมีการกระทำความผิดสูงที่สุดได้เนี่ยเขาจะต้องมีการบริหารจัดการที่ไม่ธรรมดา
พอเราเริ่มศึกษาแล้วดูว่าเว็บนี้มันผู้ที่เข้ามาใช้หรือมาติดต่อเป็นแสนคนถ้าเป็นยาเสพติดเนี่ยก็คือว่าหายากนะครับที่กลุ่มนักค้ายาเสพติดนี้มีกลุ่มนักค้ายาเสพติดถึงกลุ่มละ100,000 คนเนี่ยคือการปราบยาเสพติดเราเนี่ยผมอย่างผมทำเนี่ยผมก็ทำมา30 ปีแล้วแต่ Operation อันนี้มันแปลกเพราะมันเกี่ยวกับเทคโนโลยีแต่จากการสืบสวนขยายผลมาเรื่อยรู้ว่าในที่สุดน่าจะอยู่เมืองไทยเราก็จึงเข้ามาสโคปใกล้ชิดแล้วก็สืบสวนใช้เวลาอยู่หลายเดือนอยู่กว่าจะรู้ว่าตัวเขาอยู่ประเทศไทย
He used an old Hotmail account, so of course it will lead to his history and to his additional digital footprint. He also used some other pseudonyms across different platforms, the same on the dark web as on the normal web and the visible web.
When you're running such a marketplace, there's also a risk that some of your previous actions will come back to haunt you at some point. So the point is that even before he even dreamed about running AlphaBay, we are talking about something that took place almost a decade prior to his arrest. Some of those elements were used to actually be able to link different online personas with each other. And that's very important to remember.
Whatever is on the internet, it's on the internet forever. So if you use an identity somewhere, someday, it is there and might burst anytime with your information. Nothing that you have put there is completely deleted.
ที่เรารู้ขณะนี้ก็คือเขาน่าจะชื่ออเล็กซานเดอร์แคสแล้วก็เป็นคนแคนาดาหมายเลขพาสปอร์ตตัวนี้พอเราพบเราก็เจาะลึกไปเรื่อยๆครับเราก็เจอว่าเขามีภรรยาเป็นคนไทย เราก็ทำการสืบสวนเขาก็ไม่มีอะไรคือไม่ได้ทำอะไรเท่าไหร่แล้วก็สอบถามจากข้างเคียงหรือเก็บข้อมูลก็ทราบว่าเขาทำเกี่ยวกับคอมพิวเตอร์ใช่ไหมเราก็พยายามดูเขาทำคอมพิวเตอร์อะไรขายอะไรมีทรัพย์สินอะไรซึ่งเราดูว่าโอ้เขามีทรัพย์สินเยอะนะเขามีบ้าน2 หลังติดกันเป็นทาวน์เฮาส์ตรงข้าม2 หลังแล้วกำลังซื้ออีกหลังหนึ่งซื้อแล้วก็กำลังตกแต่งเป็น100 ล้านอีกที่หนึ่งแล้วก็ไปเช่าอีกที่หนึ่งมีบ้านแล้วแต่ยังไปเช่าอีกที่หนึ่งเราก็เห็นว่าเขาใช้รถ Lamborghini นะ Aventador ซึ่งราคาแพงสุดก็หลาย30 ล้านนะแล้วก็มี Porsche นะครับแล้วก็มี Mini Cooper แล้วส่วนมอเตอร์ไซค์ก็ใช้ Superbike BMW ซึ่งเป็นรถราคาสูงทั้งนั้นเลย
บางมื้อเนี่ยตัวนายอเล็กซานเดอร์แคสเนี่ยสามารถที่จะใช้เงินประมาณ1 ล้านหรือ1.5 ล้านบาทในการกินข้าว1 มื้อได้เขาสามารถที่จะใช้เงินซื้อได้ทุกอย่างและเขาก็ใช้ชีวิตที่หรูหราจริงๆ
ก็เป็นเรื่องปกติของมนุษย์ที่อยากจะโอ้อวดนะในสิ่งที่ตัวเองได้มาเร็วอะไรเงี้ยเพราะฉะนั้นในการโอ้อวดเนี่ยบางครั้งเองเนี่ยมันก็เป็นที่จับตาเหมือนกันว่าทำไมคุณรวยเร็ว
มีบ้านหลายหลังมีรถดีหลายคันไปโน่นเข้าโน่นออกนี่แต่ทำงานจริงๆจังเราไม่เห็นมันจะเป็นไปได้ยังไง
Many countries, even in Southeast Asia, they have a law that government can collect the data from the internet for protecting their national security. They call it lawful interception. Many countries in Europe, they can do. Many well-developed country, Singapore, 100%. But in Thailand, we don't have such law. And many hackers in the world know that Thailand don't have such kind of the law to sniff or collect information from the internet. And they can think this is the heaven for them. Sony Picture case is a world-class big case. We are the source of the IP address that attacked Sony Picture. We found that we has been hacked by the foreign hacker. All the IP address of the attacker originate from USD and the hotel in Bangkok. They compromise the server and they use that computer server to hack into the Sony Picture. We have many cases, not only Sony Picture. We have cases that we hack into the other government in Asia, in Europe, in United States. They come to our country and they compromise, hack the server, and we call this attack attribution.
The Breaking Bad syndrome. So Breaking Bad is this very popular TV series, and you see the evolution of the character over the series to change from a very nice, upstanding citizen to an absolutely horrible criminal. Even more than money, there is kind of the thrill of doing this business and realizing how powerful you are. They get addicted to their own product. And that product is not drugs, it's the thrill of running an illicit website. AlphaBay is an online anonymous marketplace that is running anonymously on the internet. Anonymous browsing works at a high level using the following principle. Instead of me talking directly to the website that I want to visit, I'm going to talk to an intermediary who is going to talk to an intermediary who is going to talk to an intermediary, and so forth.
It allows people to sell illegal products or illegal services without any fear of being caught, without any fear of being identified. You could be in any country in the world, and it would be quite challenging to prove that you were the one selling something on the dark web. First link would be download Tor. You can download Tor for free online. It's very simple, very straightforward to download and install, and within seconds you can be running the Tor browser. So on the typical internet, the general internet that people know, you'll see .com, .net, .org. On the Tor network, we only see the string of random characters .onion. So there's no even way to track the domain name. It's just a string of random characters. So you can quite clearly tell that is on the Tor network.
Originally, Tor was a byproduct of the Office for Naval Research to provide a mechanism for intelligence agents and spies to communicate back to the US government anonymously. Over time, the use cases have expanded.
So journalists would be a great example. Journalists researching a topic inside a country that might be considered politically sensitive. We need to be able to do things that might be censored by their government. So the Tor network by itself is really not that harmful. You can share information, it may be unregulated and uncontrolled, but there's no way of buying products or services through Tor itself directly. But when you add in cryptocurrency, which has the same level of anonymity and privacy, all of a sudden these two things together really do create the perfect storm. So you can list products and receive money for products, all anonymous.
When I was working on the sort of great project of my life back in 2013, and trying to figure out things like how could I get this archive of material to journalists? So how could they see things in a safe way that's uncontrolled? There's a question of, well, do I need server infrastructure of my own? Maybe the answer is yes. Okay, how do I pay for that anonymously? Maybe someone like me may have used Bitcoin for something like that.
This is 0.4 of a Bitcoin for a Dutch passport. That would be about 4,500 given today's rate of Bitcoin, which is about 10,000 for one Bitcoin. Yeah, we accept all cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is definitely the payment choice. So that is my Bitcoin wallet. And this gives me the QR code. If someone else wants to send me Bitcoin, they just scan this QR code, and then it goes to my Bitcoin address, and then the Bitcoin will come into my account. Bitcoin can be used for many legitimate things, many legitimate reasons. It just happens to also be the #1 choice for people selling things on the dark web. There's no way of tracking it. Or there's no way of tying a cryptocurrency wallet or address to a person. Traditionally, a lot of crime has been caught by busting the trail of money, because money always leaves quite a trail.
แต่สมมุติว่าเป็นเงินฝากตัวเขารู้แบงค์รู้หลายคนรู้สามารถตรวจสอบได้แต่ที่นี่คือตัวเขาเองเท่านั้น จะเห็นว่าการค้าเนี่ยมันเหมือนเป็น virtual มันไม่ใช่เป็น actual มันเป็น virtual ไม่ว่าการค้ายาเสพติดข้อมูลในไฟล์ต่างมันอยู่ในอากาศทั้งหมดเลย
So you can send millions of dollars to someone else on the other end of the world and receive goods in return without anyone in between actually seeing or knowing. The growth of cryptocurrencies, it's been very much pitched directly on the growth of the dark web and financial services on the dark web.
People have been selling drugs and other illicit goods on the web pretty much since the 1990s. So what was different with Silk Road? Well, what was different with Silk Road is that it tried to provide what I would call an end-to-end anonymity platform. It combines network anonymity through the use of Tor, so that an observer cannot tell which machine is connecting to which server to do those transactions. You might have thought, well, the police has shown that they can arrest those people, and so you'd be foolish to enter this line of business because you're going to get caught. This is the exact opposite of what happened. People were convinced that there was demand from customers and that there was a viable business idea in there.
ผมคิดว่าอาชญากรรมคอมพิวเตอร์เนี่ยตัวที่อธิบายได้ชัดเจนที่สุดสำหรับไซเบอร์ครามเนี่ยตอนนี้น่าจะเป็นเรื่อง demand supply นะครับว่าดีมานด์คนในเรื่องของตลาดมืดเนี่ยมันมีเยอะ
Okay, so for this one, we need to register an account. You can see they use PGP authentication, so quite privacy focused. Let's see if we can find another marketplace. Okay, we need username and password for that one. I think the AlphaBay was quite unique, that it was so quick and easy to get on board and to get in. Definitely contributed to its success.
Initially, it was not the largest website. It was a very small website. They were primarily selling credit cards and other digital goods.
So in 2015, AlphaBay really got into the spotlight for selling stolen Uber and TalkTalk information. Now, this is just a great example of an illegal product, data in this case, being sold online. And I imagine very cheaply, because this information, there will be a lot of it, so people will be selling person by person a few dollars. But there are a lot of accounts that were being sold on AlphaBay, not just things like Uber, also Netflix, Hulu. These are the things I think people would buy quite frequently. Because it's considered not so illegal, but something that they want.
But reasonably quickly, they became dominated by drugs. The first vendor on AlphaBay was probably Alpha02, selling credit card numbers he had access to. And then, as the business picked up and other vendors joined, he didn't, say no when people started to sell drugs. It's very interesting to ask yourself, how many people does it take to run a dark web marketplace? And the answer is surprisingly few in general. A lot of the people who start those marketplaces, they are not drug syndicates, they are not career criminals, they are people with a very strong IT background. This is really white-collar crime, which makes sense for the operator of the platform. After all, operating a website is an IT job. But what is interesting is that you see the same marketing techniques that are being used by legitimate businesses, social networks like Twitter, Reddit, and they have some quote-unquote social media consultants that are essentially promoting their brands on those social networks.
ส่วนมากอาชญากรทางด้านไซเบอร์เนี่ยจะมีอายุอยู่ประมาณ 18-25 ปี เพราะนั้นแรงจูงใจในเรื่องที่จะทำอะไรแผลงๆเนี่ยนะครับแล้วก็อาจจะไม่ค่อยกลัวในเรื่องกฎหมายนะครับเป็นกล้าทดลองกล้าบ้าบิ่นเนี่ยมีเยอะ
You have a certain ego present within the community. The knowledge that the general public lacks understanding about cybersecurity, that makes some of the cybersecurity hackers thinking that they might have almost like superpowers and they are so good that no one will find them.
คือมันมีกลุ่มอาชญากรกลุ่มหนึ่งซึ่งเขาอาจจะมีความรู้สึกว่าเขาท้าทายนะครับอาจจะมีความรู้สึกว่าสนุกมันเป็นเกมอย่างหนึ่งนะครับอันนี้ใน criminal mind เนี่ยนะครับของคนกลุ่มหนึ่งพวกนี้มี
It's got to be a little bit exhilarating for those people. It's got to be something that provides a thrill, a high, so to speak, no pun intended.
In the particular case of AlphaBay Marketplace and the reach and the amount of users that particular marketplace reached, probably the owner had a feeling of success, a feeling of being untouchable because he reached a certain level that they didn't find me until now. I don't think they will catch me.
ตอนแรกเขาก็ไม่คิดว่าเราจะล่วงรู้ถึงขนาดนี้ได้นะเขาเป็นคนที่ฉลาดมากนะครับซึ่งใครจะรู้เท่าทันก็ได้ไงเขาคงวางไว้หลายชั้นก็อย่างที่ว่ากว่าเราจะใช้เวลาคนเป็นร้อยใช้เวลาเป็นเดือนสู้กับคนคนเดียว
ตัวอาชญากรคนนี้เป็นผู้ต้องหาที่มีความชำนาญด้านเทคโนโลยีอันดับหนึ่งถือว่าเป็นเบอร์หนึ่งของด้านไซเบอร์ครามเลยครับอาชญากรคนนี้มีความชำนาญในการหลบหลีกเส้นทางในการตรวจสอบของเจ้าที่ FBI มานานนะครับซึ่งตอนนี้เราสามารถที่จะสืบสวนจนทราบแล้วว่าเขาเนี่ยมากระทำความผิดในประเทศไทยฉะนั้นเนี่ยเป็นเรื่องยากมากครับที่เราจะต้องรวบรวมพยานหลักฐานในการจับกุมตัวอาชญากรคนนี้ให้ได้ความกังวลของตำรวจไทยตำรวจอเมริกาหรือตำรวจต่างชาติที่มาร่วมกันทำงานวันนั้นถือว่าเครียดมากครับทุกคนเราไม่เคยทำถึงขนาดนี้ครับเรามีแค่ติดตามร่องรอยทางบัญชีติดตามข้อมูลทางอิเล็กทรอนิกส์บ้างนะครับแต่ไม่เคยมีการต้องใช้เทคโนโลยีแล้วก็การมอนิเตอร์กันตลอด24ชั่วโมงนะครับ7 วันต่อสัปดาห์30 วันต่อเดือนขนาดนี้ครับถือว่าเป็นการปฏิบัติการที่ค่อนข้างเข้มข้นมากครับสำหรับตำรวจเราครับ
ทำยังไงที่เราจะทำได้ว่าเราต้องจับกลุ่มเขาให้ได้ในขณะที่เขาใช้เครื่องในฐานะแอดมินเพราะว่าเขาไม่ได้ใช้ตลอดเวลา
Seeing someone's laptop logged into the marketplace also shows that intent. It shows that you are actually the person who's adminning this marketplace. So people that are using Tor cryptocurrencies will almost certainly be using extra security precautions on their laptop. So if law enforcement came, you just close your laptop. It's a giant encrypted brick. There is nothing more watertight than being logged in as an admin through an illegal marketplace. You're clearly involved.
ไม่ใช่เพราะ5 จุลายในปีนั้นเนี่ยไม่ใช่ว่าเราพร้อมคนเดียวคือพร้อมทั้ง10 ประเทศพร้อมกันหมด10 ประเทศคือทำเราเป็นสเต็ปแรกที่เราคอนเซิร์นคือว่าพอเราทำปั๊บจะมีประเทศต่อไปถ้าเราทำแล้วเราเฟลทุกคนก็จะเฟลไปหมดเพราะตัวสำคัญอยู่ที่เรา
ประชุมกันวางแผนแล้วก็มีการปรับแผนการทำงานเนี่ยเรียกว่าวินาทีต่อวินาทีเลยเราจะเข้าชาร์จตอนไหนนะครับเราจะเลือกมุมไหนเมื่อเขาออกมาแล้วใครจะเข้าควบคุมตัวทุกอย่างต้องอยู่ในการควบคุมของเจ้าที่ตำรวจให้ได้ทั้งหมดจึงจะมีสัญญาณในการเข้าจับกุมตัวนายอเล็กซานเดอร์แคสวันนั้นครับ
คือคนเราเนี่ยกว่าจะรู้สติเนี่ยมันใช้เวลาประมาณ5 เซคันด์ในการที่จะตัดสินใจรีสปอนส์อะไรสิ่งเหล่านี้เพราะฉะนั้นเราจะต้องทำในสิ่งที่เราวางแผนไว้ให้เรียบร้อยภายในเวลาวินาทีอันจำกัดเพราะถ้าเขารู้ตัวว่าเราจะมาเรื่องคอมพิวเตอร์เขาจะปิดเราจะมาเรื่องโทรศัพท์เขาก็จะปิดทุกอย่างต้องเสร็จภายใน9 เซคันด์
เราจะต้อง เข้าควบคุมตัวแล้วยึดอุปกรณ์อิเล็กทรอนิกส์ให้ได้ทั้งหมดครับเพื่อยืนยันว่าเขาไม่สามารถที่จะสั่งการหรือมีการเชื่อมต่อออนไลน์กับระบบอื่นในการเข้าถึงเว็บไซต์ของ AlphaBay ได้อีกครับอันนั้นถือว่างานของผมเนี่ยจะต้องทำให้ทุกคนเนี่ยมั่นใจได้ว่าเราสามารถคอนโทรลเว็บไซต์ AlphaBay ได้เป็นที่เรียบร้อยแล้วครับเมื่อเราเข้าไปตรวจสอบอุปกรณ์นะครับทางอิเล็กทรอนิกส์เช่นคอมพิวเตอร์โน้ตบุ๊กนะครับหรืออุปกรณ์ทางอิเล็กทรอนิกส์อื่นๆเนี่ยก็จะพบว่าตัวนาย Alexander Cass เนี่ยได้ฝังพาสเวิร์ดนะครับซึ่งเป็นรูทคีย์ในการเข้าถึงกระเป๋าเงินนะครับที่เรียกว่า wallet ต่างๆเนี่ยของเขาเองที่ใช้ในเคส AlphaBay ซึ่งเป็นการที่จะควบคุมนะครับสั่งการแอดมินในระบบ AlphaBay นะครับซึ่งตรงเนี้ยเราก็ต้องแกะจากรูทคีย์พวกนี้ครับซึ่งว่าเป็นส่วนสำคัญมากเลยจากคอมพิวเตอร์โน้ตบุ๊กของเขาเอง
Most people use very simple passwords like password or I love you or baseball or things like that. People who run those marketplaces use hard to break passwords.
If you think about a passphrase, not a password, but say a phrase that's a paragraph from a book, all of a sudden becomes very, very challenging to try and guess that.
Trying to break one of those passwords would take an enormous amount of resources. It's not even clear that it's possible. And breaking the encryption itself is basically infeasible with today's technology.
วันที่เราเจอ Alexander ทีมที่เราเข้าไปทีม Cybercrime เราเข้าไปเนี่ยกำลังออนไลน์ Operation like admin นั่นก็คือเราก็มั่นใจในพยานหลักฐานที่เรามีทั้งหมดครับว่านี่แหละเขา
People thought that AlphaBay had committed an exit scam. The platform was still there, but you really couldn't take money out of it. The reason why the police did this was to lead people who were on AlphaBay to go someplace else, to go to a different market.
This is a landmark operation. AlphaBay was roughly 10 times the size of the Silk Road. So we're talking about multiple servers, different countries, hundreds of millions of dollars in cryptocurrency, and a darknet drug trade that spanned the globe.